Now I want to show you how you can incorporate your photography into a painting. This is a painting that I've done, quite abstract, slightly landscape-ish. And I've actually put a bit of a photograph in this painting already. It's here. Let me show you the original. This was actually a colour photograph of a reflection in some water of some trees. So I turned it into black and white, and I didn't photocopy it, I printed it on my laser printer. And I found that if you have a lot of tonal contrast in your photographs, it works a lot better. So if you've got a lot of light and then darks, it works better because this doesn't transfer onto your painting, but this will. So that's that area there, and I've painted over it since, so some of it has gone behind other paint. But what I'd quite like to do, because I've got another painting with this image in it, is to transfer this image, and then I can show you how that works. I just have to work out where on this image I want this to go. As I said, what's going to transfer is going to be the dark colours. Now, I think the best way to do this is to cut out part of the image that you want to appear on your painting. So it doesn't have to be too accurate around the light bits, because as I say, there's not a lot that's going to come out on that. But you want it to look, see for example there's a straight line there, and unless that's on the edge of the painting, which it might be, we'll see, we ought to do something with that, maybe cut around that stone there so that it looks a bit more realistic. So first of all I've got to work out which way around I want this painting to go, which I haven't done. I think this way around, and then I have to work out where this person is going to appear. Bearing in mind that we want a background which has lighter values to be able to see it clearly, so I'm guessing maybe around there. So I'm going to just tidy this up a bit so it looks more realistic. Like that. You've got to try and imagine what it's going to look like. I don't want to lose this, you see, so I could always put it on an angle. I think that would look a bit weird. I could always have less of the stones. Let's try it with less of the stones. Yeah, I think that's going to start working better. I think probably something like that. And of course it has to go the other way around, so you've got to have a fairly clear idea about where it's going to go. So what you do is you get your gel medium, and I just use a spatula from the kitchen because they're easiest, and then I'm going to try and remember where that went, and then I'm going to put some gel medium down here. Decent amount. And then hopefully I'll remember where that went. And I'm just going to press it down. I use a bit of tracing paper, so I'm putting that down. I'm getting a roller and I'm rolling it quite hard. So that that sticks where it's supposed to be sticking. It's a bit lumpy, so I'm just going to use my fingers to make sure it's stuck where it's supposed to be sticking. Then very carefully I'll take that off. You can see some of that's come unstuck already. And then I'm just going to scrape off. It's important that you don't get any gel medium on this part of the paper because you don't want it sealed, you want it just dry paper. So I'm just wiping it very carefully so I don't get any medium on there. I'm wiping away the excess on the painting because we don't want all of that lumpy stuff all over the painting. So that looks as though it's stuck pretty well. I'm just going to leave it to dry now. It'll probably take 12 hours before we can go on to the next stage. Okay, so this is fully dry now, this paper with the photograph on it. And what we do now is just put some water on it to damp it, quite a bit of water, and let that soak in. And after a while, the paper will just start peeling away, and you will reveal your photograph. It's quite easy to do, it's just a little bit time consuming. So you have to make sure you get all of that paper off, because even though it looks as though you've got it all off, you can still feel it. So you need to completely get all those layers off. And I promise you, even when you think you've got it all off, you will find there is still paper there. Very thin paper would probably work best with this, as long as it doesn't fall apart in your printer, of course. And remember, it's got to be a laser print, otherwise the photograph won't transfer. So now what I'd do is I would let this dry, because I am pretty sure there's still paper left on here. Yeah, I can feel it here, you see. And once it's dry, you will see where the paper is still attached to the painting. Let's wipe off the excess water. And here is the final painting. The lovely thing about using photography in your paintings is that it just adds another dimension. The key elements to remember is to have a high contrast photograph, so a dark object with lots of light in it, so it's very clear what you're looking at. You do need to use a laser printer, otherwise it won't work. Remember to turn the photograph face down and use gel medium. I have tried using liquid medium, but I think gel medium works much better. And if you're not a dab hand as a photographer and you don't have any suitable photographs, you can always use old pages from books and music scores. They all work. The key, as always, is experiment and enjoy the ride. I love doing things that are different. Bye for now.